Good morning, everyone. Melanie from Onward here. Thanks for joining me with my cup of coffee. And yeah, you're gonna see that there's a cat involved in this video too, so apologies if any crashes happen. But today I am answering our question that was posed to Onward, asking, wait a minute, you don't continue your training in the wintertime, do you? And the answer to that is, why, yes. Yes, I do actually enjoy hiking in the winter more because of two things. Number one, I can breathe a little bit better. The heat is a little bit stifling to me. Winter air, whew, I can get up those mountains pretty fast. And second, it's almost like you're cheating because if you have snow, it packs down the rocks and the roots. So the path is, even though it's still up and still down, the path is a little bit less jagged, less ragged, and a little bit easier on my body. So I love hiking in the wintertime, and I also love the white crisp views and the silence that's offered when you're way out in the mountains, way out in the forest. So you are witnessing my pile of stuff. Yeah, so not just the cat, but one by one I have a table set up here, and I'm going to show you how to hike safely with the gear that I have. Believe me, it's a lot more than you need for the summertime. Summertime, this is what I can get away with doing an 8-mile hike with. That's about it. Good shoes and a bottle of water. Wintertime is much more involved. So let me put my cup of coffee down. Let me get the cat out of the way, and I'll start showing you my stuff. All right, so in no particular order, because I just have a whole lot of stuff in front of me here, organizing it as we speak. But let's see. Let's start out with the water. So in the summertime, I usually pack 3 or 4 of these, depending on the length of hike and how much hydration I'm going to need. This smart water bottle, and it serves me well. I also have a Sawyer squeeze for an emergency, and I can filter water and I can stay as hydrated as I need. But in the wintertime, what happens? The temperatures drop, so your water can freeze. Some people carry a bladder in their pack that they have a little tube, and the tube can freeze as well. So what I do to make sure that I always have water is I put boiling hot water in a hydro flask, and it's still warm, so I can warm myself with the water when I'm on the trail, and I don't have to worry about it freezing because these things keep the temperature pretty warm, and I feel safer carrying these. They're a little heavier, but worth it because water, you don't want to run out of water. I'm also known to pick up snow on the trail, so I can't recommend doing that, but I like to do that. But you know, there's all of those safety concerns about what's in the snow, and but in a pinch, you can always melt snow or just eat it. Okay, and speaking of food and freezing, have you ever tried to munch on a Power Bar or a Snickers bar or whatever it is that you're packing for food? In the wintertime, your food is going to freeze too. Sometimes when you're at the bottom of the mountain, it's 30, 40 degrees. When you get to the top, it's single digits or less. So your food is going to be rock hard by the time you want to take a break and eat it. So you have to pack food that's pretty nutrient dense. My go-to is cashews and other nuts. You can pack dates. You can pack anything that's going to be able to be munched on without breaking a tooth. So I have my cashews that I'm going to put in a smaller bag soon. Let's see. Sip of coffee, because coffee is important. It's really early right now, guys. So there will be coffee for on the road, and probably a little bit of peppermint tea in one of those hydro flasks later on. Okay, let's talk about clothing now. So let's talk hands. I have a condition that causes my fingers to get really numb really fast, and that's not good. No bueno in the cold. So I pack a couple of different kinds of gloves. I have a layer that's a little bit thinner for when it's not so cold, for when I'm at the bottom and it's 30 or 40 degrees. And then I also have gloves that I can press a button and they turn on a warmer. So I have a little bit of added benefit knowing that my hands are going to stay warm. So having all of these different options is good in the winter time. My trunk is absolutely full. And I have 2 pairs of these just in case anything happens, so that I can have them charged up and ready to go. All right, and feet, let's go feet. So merino wool socks all the way. I have a pair of socks on right now, boop, that are merino wool. I have merino wool socks that are going to be over those and in my boots, and it's always important to carry extra socks as well. So I have that going for me. And then, just in case I get cold, because it's gonna happen, I also have toe warmers and hand warmers that I can utilize. And whew, you don't want to get cold. So my hands and my feet are usually my main concern, and I never want to be without the ability to make those a little bit warmer. The next thing is your head. So you have a hat, again, merino wool. Anybody that ever wants to buy me a present, I would deck myself out in merino wool completely if I could. I love it. I love it. Everything that I have on today right now for base layers, including my undergarments, is merino wool. No cotton allowed ever, ever, ever. So I have a merino wool hat as well. And I also have, just in case, this face shield, so I can look really scary going up the hill. You put the face shield on, and that protects you from any wind, sun, and just cold climates. You don't want frostbite on your nose either. Okay, let's continue on with some of the clothing because it's important. Like I said, temperatures can change, weather can change at the drop of a hat, and you always want to be prepared. So I do have my merino wool base layer. The base layer is what's closest to your skin. And then on top of that, I have a fleece. Some people like to carry what is called puffies, but I like fleeces a little bit better than puffies. So I have a fleece layer. I have the pants that are going to go over my base layer, which have waterproofing on the inside. So there's another layer, making 3 layers, all waterproof, so that the weather is just not going to be able to touch my skin. So these guys, I've slid down mountains in these. Can you see? You can see where the butt's been jetted out a little bit there, but these guys are tough, and they're going to be protecting me from both the weather and the elements and rocks and anything else in case I have to do a slide. And then of course I have my coat as well with the insulated layer on the inside. So there's no question that I'm going to be warm. In fact, I still sweat, which is why it's important to have wicking layers like the merino wool. No cotton, ever, ever, ever. I can't say that enough. No cotton, no cotton, no cotton, because you can get hypothermia from sweating inside all of your warm layers. So that is that. Okay, let's talk about boots, hiking boots. So I have 2 different boots that I use in the winter time. When there is less weather, I have these guys. So these are, I like barefoot, I like minimalist, and these are still waterproof, still a leather. Still really dirty from the last hike that I went on, but that's okay. And these guys are good when you have to put on just tiny spikes. So these micro spikes, they're called, go on the boot so that they can help with traction, getting up snowy, slushy, icy, rocky, slippery parts of the trail. So I'll put these on my boots whether there's weather or not, because you don't know if you're going to run into weather. So we have those. And then if I know that the weather's going to be a little bit more extreme, I checked the weather report and it says that there's going to be extreme temperatures or even the possibility of a storm rolling in, then I have a thicker boot, a thicker leather boot that I use, and I'm going to accompany that with crampons. So these are the crampons that I will put over these boots, and just these are a little bit tougher. You want to make sure that you're pairing your boot with spikes or crampons that you don't want to wear your boot down. You want the boot to be able to tolerate having these on there, because it would really suck to have your boot fail because of the extra protection that you're using. So these guys are pretty cool. We've actually climbed waterfalls and ice slides and things like that with these types of crampons. So options are good, right? All right, another sip of coffee, then we'll keep on going. Love this stuff. All right, so let's see. Now, even more just in cases, right? Also, strapped to my pack will probably be a pair of snowshoes, because there is the possibility of not just a little snow, not just a little water, not just a little ice, but actually deep snow. You never know when you're going to fall upon, or literally fall in, snow that's 2, 3, 4, 5 feet deep. And the only way to get through that is snowshoes. So you have the spikes on the bottom of the snowshoes that can help with traction as well, and the nice wide base so that you're less likely to fall through. So snowshoes are an absolute. When you get closer to the top, when there's more of a rocky surface, then this guy might come in handy. We have an ice axe. So sometimes different trails in New York State where I'm located, they require you to go up scrambles. And what happens with the scrambles is they freeze over and they actually end up looking like waterfalls. Or on the trail, there's actual waterfalls that are part of the trail that you have to scooch on up. The only way when it's vertical is to use this guy. So this will be strapped to my pack as well, just in case, because you don't want to be unprepared for that. You will slide right down and not in a good way. So I have my axe. Okay, let's see. I have sunglasses. I never wear them. I have them just in case. Sun blindness is a thing when it's reflecting off of the snow. I haven't had to wear them yet, but I still try to have them on. It gets dark a little bit faster in the winter time, so there's times that I'm out on the trail pretty early. It's dark in the morning, starting out at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then, well, it was a longer trail that day, and I had to finish up at 4 or 5 o'clock. It's already dark on the mountains, so I make sure that I carry a headlamp. Let's see what else here. Definitely poles. If you see me coming up mountains, scrambling up mountains in the summertime, I'm probably working on my ankles and my leg strength and my coordination and my endurance, and I try to use just my hands and my balance and the way that my body moves to get up the mountains. But these guys are necessary. Trekking poles, necessary in the wintertime. They have saved my life so many times in the winter when you're slipping, you're going down, and you just got to plant yourself with your poles. So those are necessary. Let's see, speaking of safety, let's go with this guy next. So just in case for emergencies, I have a bivvy to protect myself from the elements if I happen to have to be out overnight. So all of my layers will protect me. I have another emergency space blanket that's in my pack, but I also have a bivvy. So if you don't know what a bivvy is, it looks like a sleeping bag / tent. So you can kind of lay in it. It flattens out. It's just as big as my body is, and there's like a dome that is over the top, so that I can zip and unzip myself and be protected from wind and storms and ice and anything else that might have to happen in the wintertime because Mother Nature says so. Okay. I have an extensive first aid kit, so it's pretty big, worth the wait, as in size and how much it weighs, because you never know. So I have an adventure medical kit that can fit just about everything. It's very full, and I am always making sure that it is also fully stocked. So lots of stuff in there for just in cases. Okay, so that's my med kit. Let's see, what else can we think about for safety? Navigation. You never know when you're going to go through a whiteout and get lost. So I have this little Garmin Mini that I have. It has an SOS button on it. So I pay for the subscription to have a, just press of a button and a medical squad gets alerted to my location. This is based on satellite, so you don't have to worry about having cell phone service, but I also have maps downloaded on from all trails. There's navigation through this, so you can see. You can send your location to friends and family so that they know that you are still moving and you're still safe. And it also pairs up with the Garmin watch that I have, so I can always see where I'm at on my watch, where I've been, where I'm going. It tracks everything. So I'm not just out there alone. I have technology, thank goodness. All right, guys, it's time for me to start to put all of that stuff on my pack. I'm probably going to finish these videos and be like, oh, I still needed that. Oh, I still needed this. Like, carry matches, carry some of the essential things that you know that are the basics. And if you don't know the basics, there's a lot of resources out there on Google. But just cannot reiterate enough how beautiful it is to hike in the wintertime, how worth it is to hike in the wintertime. I love it. And safety is key. Like, nothing is impossible if you have the right gear, the right mindset, and you're prepared. My trunk will be full of all of this stuff all the time until spring arrives. All right. Happy trails. I'll see you next time. Bye.